Welcome to the presentation, 3 Tips for a Happy, Healthy Gut. My name is Lisa Metzger, and I've been in the alternative health industry for over 25 years. I study nutrition and body-mind techniques to help balance our bodies in a holistic view. In the last 10 years, I've been really passionate about studying about the microbiome, which is our gut bacteria, because our guts really are the seat of all our health. Hippocrates said all disease starts in the gut, and in especially the last 20 years, science has shown that the gut is responsible for so many things. It's responsible for our moods. It's responsible for how we digest our food. It's responsible for our immune system, just to name a few functions. So I'm going to go into what the gut microbiome is, what dysfunctions can be created from it, and then give you 3 tips on how you can balance your gut microbiome. So, what makes a gut unhappy? First of all, antibiotics. Antibiotics are something that most of us have had at least one course of. I used to have a lot of ear infections when I was little. So, for the first 2 years of my life, I was on a lot of antibiotics. And what this does is it not only kills the bad bacteria that's causing the infection, but it also wipes out some of our good bacteria as well. So when this happens, we get a dysfunction or an imbalance in our gut microbiome, and this can cause all kinds of health problems. Toxins, we breathe toxins, we drink toxins, we eat toxins, what things that we put on our skin can get absorbed into our body, and all of this can have an effect on the gut microbiome as well. Stress is a big one. Stress, especially the chronic stress that most of us are under, causes an imbalance in our gut microbiome, and this can lead to all kinds of health problems. So, stress really is that, and nutrition are two of the biggest problems with our gut health these days. Our diet, like I just said, our diet, what we eat, we're not only what we eat, but we're also what our gut microbiome eats. So, if your gut microbiome is out of balance and doesn't have enough healthy gut micro organisms, it can cause a lot of problems, and we just aren't that healthy. Lack of sleep can have an effect on our microbiome. If you were born with a C-section, coming down the birth canal is where we get our first influx of bacteria into our guts. So you're already at a disadvantage if you were born with a C-section. So you can see there's a lot of things in our lives that can lead to an unhappy gut. But there's good news because our guts are so dynamic that in a very short period of time, you can do healthy things to shift that and create a healthy gut microbiome. So, what exactly is the gut microbiome? It is the habitat of living organisms in our body, the bacteria, the viruses, the protozoa, the fungi. These are things that we can't see that affects our health. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the story Horton Hears a Who, but Horton was an elephant and he had these huge ears, and he could hear this tiny little community on a speck of dust, and he was trying to convince everybody that there were little who's in Whoville on this speck of dust and that you shouldn't kill them. You need to protect them. So that's kind of like our gut microbiome. We can't see them, but it's a whole community of organisms that are beneficial to us. And we can't just go in and wipe them out and expect to have good health. We are 10 times more bacteria and microorganisms than human cells. So that means that 90% of us are microorganisms that have an effect on our overall health. They have 100 times more genetic material than human DNA. And this genetic material has an effect on our human DNA. It can turn our DNA, our genes on and off depending on the balance. And 90% of disease can be linked back to dysbiosis, which just means an imbalance in our gut microbiome. So, what exactly does a microbiome do? There are hundreds of functions, but I'm just going to go over just a few just to show you the effect that it has on our overall health. Food, first of all, food metabolism. If you don't have healthy gut microbiome, then we don't metabolize our food right, even if you're eating all the right things. Hormone production, that's a huge one. If you don't have a healthy gut microbiome, then things like menopause can be worse. Your immune system, over 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. Serotonin and other brain neurotransmitter production. Most of our serotonin, which is responsible for our feel good moods, are produced in our gut, not in our brain. We have receptors in our brain, but if you're not producing the serotonin in your gut, then you're not going to feel that balance. They synthesize different vitamins, B vitamins, for example, and they are responsible for weight regulation and fat metabolism. So you can see that there are so many different functions in our body that the microbiome is responsible for. So what exactly is dysbiosis? Dysbiosis is an imbalance in our gut bacteria. So when this happens, all kinds of things can happen in our bodies because it's out of balance. So the number one, inflammation, which leads to leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome basically means that the lining of our intestines has become inflamed and the webbing is now full of holes. So when it's inflamed, it creates all the webbing comes apart and there's holes. And so things that we eat, for example, eggs, which are very healthy for a healthy gut. But if you have leaky gut, then those egg proteins, as they're being digested, get put out into our blood system. And this can cause all kinds of things like autoimmune disease and allergies, asthma. Our immune system, like I said before, is located mostly in our gut. So if you have not enough bacteria or you have an imbalance of bad bacteria versus good bacteria, then it can lead to a poor immune system. Again, like allergies, asthma, ADHD has been linked to an unhealthy gut, dementia, Alzheimer's, joint pain, which goes back to that inflammation. You get overall body inflammation, autoimmune diseases, poor bone density as we get older, weight gain that's just resistant to coming off. Even cancer and mood disorders like anxiety and depression are linked to dysbiosis. So let's go through some easy, doable, in the moment kind of things that you can do to help balance your gut microbiome. As I said, stress is one of the biggest disruptors of our gut microbiome. So meditation and breath work can both reduce our stress levels and help us to manage our stress better. So breath work, I don't know if you've ever tried to just take a deep breath when you're in the moment of something stressful, but I'm just going to guide you through a short little breath work exercise that you can do to help bring down your energy. And you'll notice immediately that your energy just drops. You don't feel that anxiety anymore. So all you're going to do is you're going to breathe in for 4. This is called a box breath. Breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, and then hold it for another 4. So you can see how you're in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. So just this simple exercise, if you just do that 3 times, you just feel your energy level drop and that stress level drops. Meditation can get you out of your head. All of us have, a lot of stress. We call it monkey brain. We're all over the place. We imagine scenarios that create stress. Our brains are always overactive. So if you can just get out of your head and into your body through some kind of meditation, this can be going for a walk and just focusing on nature. That's a mindful walk. You can look at a candle flame, and just focus on that. You can plug into a meditation app that guides you through a guided meditation. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. Whatever works for you, whether it's an active meditation or you just sit quietly for a few minutes, it all has an effect in reducing stress. Breathwork and meditation also lowers cortisol levels. Our cortisol levels are through the roof these days. We're under so much stress, and when we're under stress, cortisol is a stress hormone that gets released when we are under that chronic stress. And our bodies aren't meant to endure that level of cortisol all the time. stress hormones are great, like when you're running from a saber-toothed tiger, but that's not our reality anymore. Our reality is that we have so much stress that it's just at this chronic level. And so that does lead to weight gain and poor immune system and poor digestion and dysbiosis. And also, when you meditate and breathe, it helps connect our brain and our guts. Our guts and brain are connected. A matter of fact, our guts are often referred to as our second brain. They are integrally connected. So, whatever your thoughts are will affect your gut, and your gut will actually affect your moods and your thoughts as well. So, give it a try. Our second tip is sleep. Sleep, if you are chronically sleep deprived or your sleep is disrupted all the time, it will have a dramatic effect on our gut health and our well being. First of all, it helps to balance your blood sugars and hormones like insulin. When we are sleep deprived, we head quickly to pre diabetic blood sugar levels and insulin levels. There was a study done on college students who were sleep deprived for just a couple of days, and it showed that their cognitive function went down. Their blood sugars were heading towards pre diabetic levels. It affects our moods, of course. You know, when I'm sleep deprived, I get pretty cranky and I don't deal with stress very well, or I get very weepy. You know, my moods are all over the place when I don't get enough sleep. It affects our microbiome, which alters our circadian rhythm. So when you don't get enough sleep, it's kind of like this vicious circle, right? You don't get enough sleep, so it affects your microbiome, which alters your circadian rhythms, which makes you get poorer sleep. So you can see that vicious cycle. So work on your sleep habits. Make sure you're turning your devices off well before you go to bed. Have a regular time that you go to bed and make sure that you at least attempt to get at least 7 hours of sleep. It may take some time to shift your sleep habits because we don't always have control, but as you get your gut microbiome in balance, you'll also find that you will sleep better. So you can see how that vicious cycle happens. And our third tip is to include probiotics and prebiotics in your diet. You can do this through both supplementation and foods. With supplements, you can take prebiotic supplements. I recommend a few different types of prebiotic supplements. And then also probiotics. You can get live cultures, or I recommend spore based probiotics because spore based survive our stomach acid and get into the intestine where they need to be, and that's where they bloom. So you get a lot more benefit from a spore based than you do live culture, the type that you have to put in the refrigerator. So you can take both types. Any probiotics are good for you, and then foods. Foods are important for good health, of course. We don't want to just depend on supplements. So I would recommend, good yogurts. Make sure that you don't choose the type that are full of sugar. Any kind of fermented food like sauerkraut and kimchi are good probiotic foods. And then prebiotic foods are foods with good fiber in them. One of the best ones are avocado. Asparagus is a good gut health food. So those types of foods, because they're so full of fiber, our bodies don't digest that fiber, but our bacteria does, and it produces all kinds of beneficial things that our bacteria will feed on. So you want to not only put in good bacteria, but you also want to feed our healthy bacteria with prebiotic foods. And once you start taking good probiotics and feeding your good bacteria, then the bad bacteria kind of gets pushed off to the side. And you get more of a balance of healthy gut microbiome. So I want to introduce you to my program that is starting up here soon. It's called the Well Fed Belly. It's an 8-week program. So if you have things like you want to lose weight, maybe you suffer from anxiety or depression, hormone imbalances, digestive issues, and leaky gut, sleep issues, and you are looking for more nutrition and supplement guidance, this program will help you to get back on track to better health. The Well-Fed Belly is an 8-week program that's going to be delivered weekly with videos. We're going to have a private Facebook group, so we have access to the community that will also be going through the program with you, as well as myself, to answer any questions that you might have. It will focus on the whole body, so body, mind, nutrition, supplementation. The program will start on Saturday, July 18th. Every Saturday, a video will be delivered to you with a weekly focus. It will be easy to implement steps that will build on each other so that by the end of the program, you will develop healthy gut habits. And if you would like to join today, it is only $197. You can save $100. So just click on the link below and it will take you to the sign up page. So if you'd like to learn more about me, just go to lisametzger.com. I'm a gut health and wellness specialist, and I wish you a happy and healthy gut.